welcome. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Your video is about to start. I just wanted to invite you to take a moment with me to remember our deployed military members who cannot be home like most of us can be. It is a cause that is near and dear to my husband's heart and therefore my own as well. And if you feel like it, take a moment with us. Enjoy your video. Bye-bye. Happy Friday and welcome to the Friday Fraud Law Review. We are just going to review one today. This was published March 10th, 2025 by the Office of Inspector General of the SSA. This one happens to be in the Southern District of Ohio, namely Cincinnati. And because it has to do with an attorney, I thought it would be a good one to put up there. Just so you don't think I put in anything other than attorneys, because it's not the first attorney reporting we've had, of course, but I haven't seen one in a little bit. So as soon as I saw this on the top of the list, I grabbed it. So apparently, now let me just see if this guy was, yep, he was convicted and he was sentenced. So I'm going to say his name. Otherwise, as you know, I would not say his name because I strongly support innocent until proven guilty. But he's been proven guilty, so we can disclose that. Richard Lewis Crosby III. He's only 37 years old from Mason, Ohio, and he pled guilty over the summer, so July of 2024, to 3 counts of Social Security number fraud. I'm guessing he was just sentenced, and that's why this report is coming out now. Apparently, at various times throughout some scheme he had going on, Mr. Crosby used identifying information belonging to his elderly father, his girlfriend, a deceased man, and others. This is so bad. I mean, well, it's bad because he's an attorney, and so, there is something to be said. Pardon me, I got hair going in my face. Something to be said about when you're in a position of trust. And attorneys are supposed to be that. You take a vow of sorts. And, you know, this is just it's bad. He falsely told at least one law firm that he was a University of Michigan football player and an ex-Marine. Oh, wow. So stolen valor as well for the ex-Marine. I'm not talking about being a football player, but to say that you're an ex-Marine when you are not is atrocious. According to the court documents, the Cincinnati Bar Association had filed a complaint against him back in 2020. And in April of 21, he had indicated his intent to resign from the practice of law. Okay. That might be because something was starting to breathe down his neck. And it might be better to resign from law as opposed to get disbarred. But in June and November of 21, he was then indicted. So right before he got indicted in 21, he decided, I'm going to resign from practicing law. I don't know, maybe he thought that would help him escape, the troubles that maybe his choices were leading him to. But in those 2 time periods in 2021, he was indicted and charged in Hamilton County with crimes relating to stealing clients' funds. That's often what it is. After his indictments, that's when the Southern District of Ohio disbarred him. The following year in 2022, he was arrested in both of those Hamilton County cases and sentenced to probation in both cases in June of 2023. I wonder why it was probation. I mean, I don't even know if it should be probation when it's a first offense. He was a lawyer, he knew better. Anyhow, according to his federal plea agreement, which of course is separate from his state disbarment, he created an email account using Richard C. Williams Esquire, period, I guess, as his handle. And he used the email address and the alias Richard Williams to communicate with a law firm in Washington, D.C. in June of 2021. The firm briefly employed Williams. I think we reported on this way back when, maybe when he was arrested. I think the OIG put out a report now that it's all wrapped up and done. So they did a follow-up, which I kind of appreciate. I hate hearing the first part and then not knowing how it ended and what the court did. Then I can I can be all judgy and decide if I think they were tough enough or too tough or too lenient. In June of 2022, Mr. Crosby had been disbarred in Ohio and arrested on the Hamilton charges, and he used his alias to apply online for an attorney position with a law firm in California. All right, so when you're disbarred and you no longer have a law license, basically, he was obviously representing himself as if he did have one to try to get these jobs at the law firm. The firm did offer him a position as an associate attorney at a salary of $150,000. The defendant was employed under this alias for approximately 3 months and used a firm email address with his alias name. Wow. In September of that year, he used his alias to apply for an attorney position with a law firm based in Miami, Florida. So it sounds like he's working at one law firm, but then decides he wants to work at another. I don't know if that's because maybe the jig was going to be up soon with the California law firm. I mean, eventually they're going to probably figure it out. The signs are going to be there that you're not who you say you are, right? Maybe it would be, well, he was stealing Social Security numbers, I guess, so they could put him on payroll. Mr. Crosby met with a recruiter via Zoom and represented himself as Richard Williams, a licensed attorney admitted to the bar in New York and DC. He then met with one of the firm's hiring managers in Florida and was ultimately offered employment in October of 2022. What happened to the California firm? His starting salary was $185, so he actually got a nice little boost there with a $5,000 signing bonus. He used his girlfriend's social security number, passport number, and banking information to complete his onboarding paperwork at the law firm. In April of 23, he received an inquiry from an investigator with the Claremont County Child Support Enforcement Office, making the firm aware of Crosby's true identity. He was subsequently fired. Gee, you think? In July of 23, he interviewed, wow, with the founding partner at a different California law firm. He also falsely claimed to work at the law firm of Kirkland and Ellis. After the founding partner asked Crosby to verify with whom he worked at Kirkland and Ellis, Crosby withdrew his interest in the job. He again used the alias, like just a few days later, to attempt to obtain employment. He interviewed over Zoom with senior management of a law firm located in Coral Gables, Florida. He seems to be going back and forth between Florida and California. He doctored a screenshot of the name Richard Coleman Williams Jr. Wow. In the online Disbarred membership directory to attach with his resume. Oh, the firm offered him a starting salary of $195,000 per year with a $10,000 signing bonus, but eventually determined Crosby was using a false identity and did not hire him. Wow. In August of 2023, it gets pretty lengthy, guys. He applied for a job at another law firm. This firm was located in Michigan, and they sent Mr. Crosby a letter offering a salary of $145,000 per year and a $10,000 signing bonus. When his credential information had discrepancies, the firm terminated their working relationship before issuing him his first paycheck. So it sounds like he started to work there, but before that first payday, they caught on. Then in September of 2023, so this is now about a year and a half ago, 1 month prior to his arrest on the federal charges, he used yet a different alias to apply for a job at another law firm in California. He claimed that he was a University of Michigan football player and an ex-Marine. He was hired as an attorney at a salary of $250,000 a year. He used the social security number of a deceased man from North Carolina in his tax paperwork to the firm. So just as a little sidebar, this is where a deceased person's social security number was used. Now, was it one of the 6.5 deceased people whose numbers were reflecting that they were still alive, even though they were not? You know, that's been all in the news of late. Or was it just that he got the social security number? It is noted to be deceased and it would have caught up with him later. I don't know. We'll see if they say anything. In early 2024, while he was out on bond, Crosby ran a new scheme. Boy, he just can't help himself, in which he pretended to be an attorney who specialized in appeals and other criminal matters. He scammed local inmates and their families, claiming he could help local inmates with post-conviction relief like appeals, parole, and sentence reductions. For example, he was paid $2,500 from the mother of a local inmate for the above-mentioned tasks, I suppose, but ended up providing no services in return. Sorry, that's just horrible. As part of his sentence, Crosby will pay nearly 171,000 in restitution to law firms he defrauded. The court also ordered him to serve 3 years of supervised release and perform 300 hours of community service. But they say in the beginning that he was sentenced to 37 months in prison, so 3 years and 1 month. So I suppose, I don't know why they don't add that at the bottom. I don't know why they break that out. But at least it said as part of his sentence, he also has to pay the restitution and serve the 3 years of supervised release, presumably after he gets out of the 37 months and 300 hours of community service. That's like 6, 7 weeks of community service full time. That's good. Okay. I guess that's probably okay. I guess 3 years. Do you guys think it's enough? I mean, his actions stretched beyond 3 years, his bad acts. However, it's not like he stuck a knife in somebody. However, he was still doing really bad things. So I'm not sure it's enough. It could be worse, though. We could see some of this wrist slapping we've seen with some really bad Social Security frauds that, it makes me understand why people continue to commit the fraud because the sentencing is so low and they probably get away with it. Probably most of them get away with it. And then the ones that get caught much later. So the risk of not getting caught or the risk of getting caught perhaps is low enough where they think it's worth a shot. Anyway, all right, that one's kind of interesting. Attorney up to no good. Talk to you later, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye. Oh, and visit us on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a 2-hour live question and answer on anything Social Security. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.